Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to witness some scenes from the next attraction to play this theater. This picture contains scenes which, under no circumstances, should be viewed by anyone with a heart condition or anyone who is easily upset.
Hey now, Zig Zag back in the chair for the Death Curse Society. It's the Zig Zag Zone. Welcome back. It's been a minute, and since it's been so long, I figured why the hell not? Let's do another double feature. Got a couple of good ones tonight for you, but before we get to them, I want to remind you, please go to deathcursesociety.com. Find out everything you need to know about the DCS, where we're going to be in the country. We got a great fan film section that we update all the time. All kinds of good stuff. The merch store with all our crazy shirts. Get your Loomis on. It's there at the store. DeathCurseSociety.com. Everything horror and more. All right. Double feature time for the Zig Zag Zone. Yes, it's been a minute since we've done them. And I've been looking for a way to pair this one with any other film. And I finally found two that fit together pretty well. But they're unlikely. First up, a classic. What many would say the first of its kind, Herschell Gordon Lewis, the godfather of gore. Mr. Fulci, I got this. Mr. Fulci, relax. I got this. Yeah, Godfather of Gore isn't a title we can just throw around loosely. Now, I will say that this title that we are going to check out, Blood Feast, is the first of its kind in that splatter, blood-drenched style that we all grew to know and love in the early 80s. It all started in 1963 with Blood Feast. See, Herschell felt that Psycho kind of cheated the fans. They got to see the aftermath of all the murders, but you never got to see the action of the murders. Because Hitchcock couldn't risk being turned down by the big theaters. We get that, of course. And let's face it, the way Hitchcock approached his murders in his movies were fucking scary and great, so I've got no problem with him. I digress. Godfather of Gore? I got this, Mr. Fulci. You'll get the last word, I promise. The details of the filming of this film are a bit wonky and they're all over the place. Some say 4 days in Miami, Florida for $24,500. Some say a few more days and a few more $1,000. It doesn't really matter. And there's just something about the way the blood pops in these early movies, 1963. Now I get it. By today's standards, some of this stuff is pretty tame, even a little bit lame. Sure. But in 1963, man, there wasn't anything like this fucking shocking. We got some scenes from the immortal Blood Feast. Godfather of Gore? We'll see about that. Check it out.
flesh and blood and become part of the people.
Give yourself up to the gods. Give yourself up.
Find a light, Frank. Frank? Holy smoke, Frank!
Frank, stop the truck!
I'll admit the premise plays a lot into why this film is memorable and disgusting, but I mean, it's still 1963, that is some good stuff. The film went on to gross $4 million, some say more, some say less. Blood Feast is the first film in the Blood trilogy, followed up by 2000 Maniacs and Color Me Blood Red. He went on to do other films as well, The Gore Girls, The Wizard of Gore. There's a lot of them, and if you're into this style and how he does it, kind of on the cheap, but it has left a mark on the history of splatter films. What do you think? Blood Feast? Yay or nay? What's that, Mr. Fulci? Okay, Mr. Fulci has one piece of tape to submit to settle this Godfather of Gore thing once and for all. Roll the tape. Well said, Mr. Fulci. Well said. I think that settles it, and with that, we'll move on to the next film. Ah, yes, John Carpenter's The Thing, another film so underrated, grossly underrated, and underappreciated, by the studios at least. Obviously a cult favorite now with the Carpenter fanatics. I mean, what a story. A director gets to remake his favorite childhood scary movie, and boy did he. Going into it, Carpenter said, "What I didn't want was a guy in a suit. I grew up as a kid watching science fiction horror movies, and it was always a guy in a suit." So what did he do? He brings on Rob Bottin. Carpenter had previously worked with him on The Fog, and with glorious results. So Rob Bottin got involved, and they got right to it, and it almost killed him. I mean, the guy spent like over a year on the lot, sleeping on the set and in locker rooms, because he was so obsessed with the effects on this movie. And as a result, he was hospitalized with an ulcer, double pneumonia, and exhaustion. This fucking movie almost killed him. But it is pretty good, man. It has some great effects. So let's check this shit out. John Carpenter's... I almost said The Fog. John Carpenter's The Thing.
We found this.
Jesus Christ.
Well, what we got here is what appears to be, anyway, a normal set of internal organs. Intestines. Seem to be normal.
After filming was almost complete, they decided to kind of tone down on the blood and everything a little bit late, but the creature effects use a variety of things like mayonnaise, cream corn, microwaved bubble gum, and KY jelly to get that nice slimy greasy look. I had to cut the dog scene down a little bit, man. It's just too fucking disturbing. I hate when dogs get fucked with in horror movies, but needed to show some of it here because there was a lot of effects with the thing simulating the dogs, and one of the few scenes Rob Bottin released his grip on and brought in Stan Winston to do some work on these to get this particular effect done with the dogs. And it did pay off.
Oh my God. Oh. Oh. Look. Bitch. Oh. see, what we're talking about here is an organism that imitates other life forms, and it imitates them perfectly.
We ought to just burn these things.
Ah, the chest chomp scene, one of the best and most shocking moments in any 80s horror film. They got this done. Botten hired a double amputee. They fitted him with prosthetic arms filled with wax bones, rubber veins, and jello. I think the results speak for themselves.
Clear!
Clear.
Oh, and then when the head detaches, boy, this effect took months of testing before he was satisfied and accepted it enough that it was working to pull it off. The fucking stretching veins and all that shit. Oh my god, man, it's disgusting, but beautiful. That Blair Thing puppet at the end took 50 people to control it and make it work. There was a little stop motion mixed in there, but Carpenter hated how it looked and just went with a few seconds of it and just had to get it how he wanted it. So 50 people on one puppet, that's how we roll. Full kudos to Rob Bottin on his work on this film, man. I don't think the thing, if not done the right way with the right effects, nowhere near as memorable or shocking. It has to be one of the greatest remakes of all time, doesn't it? I mean, doesn't it? And we should be very familiar with Rob Bottin's work by this point. King Kong, Piranha, The Fog, Humanoids from the Deep, the Twilight Zone movie, and of course, the transformation scene from The Howling. Man, he's got quite the resume, even working on Game of Thrones in recent days. So this guy's still in it, still doing his thing, and we are thankful for it. So there you have it, the Zig Zag Zone double feature, probably the last one of 2021. Blood Feast and John Carpenter's The Thing. 2 films, I don't know, one you should see because it's one of the cornerstones of the splatter era, and one of them you should see just because it's a fucking masterpiece. That's it for me, man. Zig Zag stepping out. Make sure you check out Monday Maniacs every Monday night at 8 o'clock. Live guests, reviews, crazy talk, insults. We do it all. We will see you soon. Plenty of content coming at you in 2022. But for now, DCS out.